Rob
Mate.
Smith here. I'm joined with Sami Hoque as he takes on Georgi Yerosalimov for the featherweight title at Unity Fighting Championships. Sami, how are we doing?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm feeling good. Yeah, it's about 4 weeks till fight night, and I'm feeling class. Yeah,
So it's his first fight since November 2024. So you've had a bit of a long layoff. I know that's not obviously something that you really wanted, but obviously I know injuries and things happen. So talk to me about you've been doing during your time off. What things have you evolved in your game?
yeah. So my last fight was November last year, where I fought for the Unity title. Obviously, that was my first loss, and before that, I never used to think I could get beat, and I was always the top dog. But it was a humbling experience. But and it was an experience that made me hungrier and made me actually enjoy the sport a bit more because now that I had that loss, I didn't have that pressure of staying undefeated, protecting that O. And I think that's what I needed, to be honest, because I was getting to a point. I've been in the game a long time now. I've been training since I was about 7, 8 years old. So it got to a point where I was just doing MMA because that's what I do. But after that loss, I've got that hunger back and I've been training, I've been working on skills, and I've been finding myself again, that confidence that I used to always have. I think I lost it somewhere down the line, but I've got it back now and I'm feeling confident for when I fight Georgie.
So we'll talk about that last fight briefly because obviously I was there at the event and it's a very good fight while it lasted against a very tough and very game Yusuf Kurt. You know, he's a very talented fighter like yourself and it was a very high level matchup. And I think losing to a guy like that, obviously no one wants to lose, but it's one of them ones where two high level guys are gonna fight, someone's gonna lose, and it's just unfortunately for yourself it was you on the night. But obviously I was gonna ask you, but you kind of answered the question in a way, but what was your sort of immediate reactions post fight? Because I remember seeing you with your team and stuff, and you seemed, in good spirits. But what were the sort of first few weeks? Because obviously you had mentioned there you were used to being the top dog, you were the undefeated guy, and so what were the first few weeks like after the fight for you?
Obviously, it was about a year ago now, and I remember after that fight, of course, I was gutted. Like I was devastated that I'm not undefeated, and I found out that it's not nice taking a loss. But I've got a good team around me, where everyone's got a champion's mindset. So it's one of them things that I had a good support system, and everyone kind of reassured me that look, a loss is a loss. It's how you come back from it, and it's always going to be a lesson. And from that fight, there was a lot of lessons to be learned, and which I'm carrying over into this fight camp, where I've not made that same mistake as I did before. Let's say I've got my own excuses, you could say, for why I thought I lost that last fight, but I can guarantee you that it's not the same for this one, and changes have been made where I'm in a much better place leading up to October 25th.
And so when the fight first got announced, I remember we had a few messages back and forth, and you were saying how redemption's the only thing on your mind. Is that sort of the biggest motivator for you coming into this fight?
Whether it's the biggest or not, I couldn't tell you, but it's definitely a big motivator. Like I says, I lost to Yusuf Kurt. Georgie then fought Yusuf Kurt and actually won. So, say when I beat Georgie, I'll have both of them wins back, if you know what I mean. So, yeah, it's good. And I'm feeling confident because I've got wins over guys that have beat Georgie already. So, the MMA math, that kind of thing, it's actually quite even because I've got wins over guys who have beat him. He's got a win against a guy, the only guy that's beat me. So it'll be interesting, but yeah, it's a big motivator where I do see it as a perfect redemption fight as well.
And so the biggest thing that stood out to me with this matchup with Yorgi is the experience on both your parts. You've got 10 fights, he's got 14. Usually at amateur, it's like, four versus five fights, but this is a very high experience matchup. So what did you make of Yorgi as an opponent? And also, you mentioned that, did you manage to watch his last fight against Yusuf Kurt? And what did you think of it?
Yeah, in fact, I was there at the venue. I remember I was watching the fight with my brother and my uncle on the balcony, and I thought, oh well, Yusuf Kurt's game was fucked for jumping in on a couple hours' notice. But in fact, before that fight, because I seen Steve was looking for opponents, and I wasn't like getting ready for a fight or anything myself. But I remember on that day, I actually thought, you know what, could I actually take this fight? And I thought, yes, I could. I could actually jump in as well. But obviously, clearly, like I didn't put it forward, but Yusuf got there before anybody did. But in the back of my head, I thought maybe I could take this fight as well. So interestingly enough, then now we've gotten matched, and I thought, well, I thought Yusuf was doing good against Georgie, and I don't think he was fully prepped with being 2 hours notice, so he couldn't like dig deep that in that fight. But yeah, Georgie as opponent, he's good. He's well rounded, and he's obviously got the experience, and he fights very often. So stepping into the cage with anybody isn't going to be new to him or surprising. But what you will find out is that I am at a different level. Maybe I didn't show it in my last fight, but if you've seen all my other fights, you'll know that what level I'm at. So it'll be a good scrap.
And so, do you believe that on the card, because like I said, we mentioned the experience, do you believe, because is it almost both kind of verging on that sort of pro level with the experience that you've got? Do you believe you're the highest level amateur matchup on the card?
I would say so, yeah. I'd say if you put me on any fight card as an amateur, it would be the highest caliber amateur fight there could be on my part. Doesn't matter who my opponent is. Whenever I'm on the card, it'll be because I'm the best amateur on the card. And I am looking to turn pro. And if I perform well enough, which I'm confident that I will, that is probably what will be next.
And the sort of scenario that you and your brother are in, Siam, it's a bit of a strange one. You're both fighting people for titles at the same gym, and I like the storyline behind this. And I think does it sort of kind of add a little bit more? I guess not. Obviously, I know he's been motivated to win the title, but it's kind of like Shea Walsh versus Ace at this point. So what does that mean for you guys?
Oh, it's class because it adds that little bit of spice to the game, you know. Like it's not just oh we're both fighting on the same card. It's like it's my team versus their team, you know what I mean? And my team ain't losing.
And how's Simon been training? How do you think he'll do on the night?
Oh, Siam's looking sharp as well. I think both of us we're in really good positions now. Obviously, we've been pushing each other, getting people in to get sparring rounds, training in and stuff like that. And we're both in good mindsets, both in good physical, um, good physically as well. And now I feel like, if I'm being honest, Rob, it feels like it's just a bit of a waiting game till fight night now. I'm slowly starting to peak, and if I was to fight Georgie this weekend, I'm sure I'll be able to put him away this weekend, never mind in 4 weeks' time. So it's just that waiting game now where I'm really excited and looking forward to it. I haven't felt that since a few of my fights ago. Um, and to have that fire back, it's a good fire to have.
And what
Dangerous.
do you think led? What do you think led to you losing your sort of spark? And you mentioned the fire there. What do you think kind of led to you sort of losing that in your past few fights?
It's a tough one because, like I say, injuries, life. You know, eh, I'm only 22, but it's like I've got a lot more things to think about now, and
Yeah.
yeah, and it's like you can't. And as you progress in life, you can't ignore these things that you have to think about. You know, so maybe it's somewhere down the line where I've prioritized other things. So one example, in fact, I'll just tell you. So, like, say, especially in my last fight, I just graduated from uni. There was a period of time since uni where I prioritized studying for my dissertation. So in that time, I wasn't training properly for 3 months, let's say, from training twice a day, 6 days a week, to training twice a week in that period. So then that was because I had to prioritize study. Got that out of the way, went on holidays, traveled and stuff like that. Enjoyed life for a bit, something other than MMA for a bit, you know. Um, Enjoyed that. Came back into a fight camp where I got up to embarrassingly 86 kilos. Yeah, I fight at 66 kilos, so from getting up to 86, some of my height as well, it's not healthy. You can imagine the state I was in. Going into a fight camp where I couldn't focus on my skills and tactics, and I had to just focus on losing the weight. But like I say, things get in the way. My mind's on other things, but now I'm locked into my upcoming fight, and that's what I'm prioritizing mainly now. While still doing other things, but when I'm focused, I feel unbeatable.
That's an unreal mindset to have, mate. And you mentioned something a bit earlier about, you're looking to go pro. If you perform well on October 25th, you're looking to go pro maybe in your next fight. Whose sort of decision is that sort of a decision you make yourself, or is it something you'll speak with your coach, you speak with Shad, you'll speak with your other guys? How do you sort of come to that decision?
Yeah, so I've got a good coaching team behind me where obviously we've got Shaj, KJS champion Sham. He's had plenty of pro fight experience, and Jordan Cooper, who's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. Um, and all them are very clever when it comes, and they know when they see myself when I'm training, the level I am and the level I can be. So it is a decision from the coaches, but it is a decision from myself as well, because I do have that self belief that I can take it to that professional level and beat some of these pros that are already on the scene. But like I say, I want to perform well on Unity, the upcoming show, and I want to kind of prove on that night that yeah, this guy's ready. When people watch my performance, like I don't need to make that decision. Everyone else will think that and come tell me, look, Sammy, what you still doing as an amateur, and then that's when I'll make the transition.
Well, it'd be like a story like fairy tale ending to your amateur career, signing off with a title on Unity against a really solid opponent in Georgi. And I think, like I said, I think if you perform with it the way I think you can on that night, I think there's nothing left for you at amateur. I think you've achieved so much. A record of 9-1 at amateur is very impressive. Most people, have. I mean, I'm sure Georgi will say himself he's got a record of 8-6. He has had a lot of losses, but he's always been able to bounce back from that. Whereas yourself, you've been dominant, and I think we're in for a very dangerous Sami Hoque on October 25th. I think you've got a point. I think you've put it upon yourself. You've got a point to prove to people. You're going to showcase your skills. I think it's going to be a very dangerous opponent. You've put yourself. You've made yourself.
I'm glad you know that. I'm just
And I want to ask about, training over at Ace MMA in South Shields. It's an unbelievable gym, and the Friday night sparring stories to me, I've heard the legendary. And so,
yeah.
talking about having the experience of an unbelievable gym with a great coaches, and you get people coming from different gyms and sparring at your gym, getting different looks from different places. What's it been like for you?
Yeah, so in that Ace MMA, it's like I've trained at other places, like obviously not officially as my other clubs and stuff, but I've trained at other places as drop-in sessions, and I can just tell like the caliber of coaching isn't as high as what it is at Ace MMA. Like I just mentioned, the coaches before, we've got a wealth of experience there and success, and as well as the coaches, the training partners we have at Ace, everyone's like-minded in terms of that championship mindset that everyone has. Everyone wants to outdo each other on the mat. Let's say we've all got fights coming up. We all want to be the best guy in the mat. And it's that healthy competition that we create and that atmosphere that people from elsewhere want to be a part of. Obviously, maybe because of traveling and stuff like that, people can't always come to Ace, but if it's on that Friday night, like you were saying, they're gonna get as much output as they can on that one day that they can make it, and it's nice. It's nice to see that we've got value within the MMA community where people want to come train with us because of the way we train day in day out, you know, and we all just level up together in terms of. There's been a point where we've had other guys training for title fights as well as us ourselves. So everyone's just wanting to be the best and get better, and it's a healthy environment.
And I want to ask about your experience in being in Shad's corner at the most recent Cage Warriors fight, where he actually retained his title, and what a crazy fight that was! An unbelievable fight. It was surreal to watch. I mean, for having such a long sort of rough time to get back to the cage that Shad had to perform the way he did against an unbelievable opponent in Giovanni Scott. What was it like for you being in the corner at an event like that? Was it motivating, thinking I want to be in one of these Cage Warriors title fights one day?
Yeah, 100%, man. Shad, he's inspirational. He's very good at what he does. Um, I don't think I've seen anyone with as much discipline and mental focus with the skills to back it up. It's just very inspiring to see, and the fact that he's leading the way for us is, I've got no doubt that myself and the other lads coming through, like Siam, like Niam, Shawan, Aaron, whoever else is coming up through Ace MMA, we're gonna make it to the top because we've got such a good guy leading the line. When I was at the Cage Warriors in the corner, I knew some of the challenges Shaj went through in his camp. I was there all the way through, pretty much, other than when I went to Sri Lanka for a few weeks. But I started the camp with him. I finished the camp with him. I stayed in London with him uh, for I think it was 4 or 5 days before the fight. Um, and I can just see how the top level guys do it. And that was a fantastic experience for me. And now I've seen the process. It made me feel like I want to do the process. So I'll get there one day and hopefully even exceed that.
And my final question, mate, I don't want to keep you too long, is what's your official prediction for the fight?
When I fight on October 25th, I don't really do predictions, but I'm going to say that one thing I can guarantee is you're going to see how good I am on that day. I've put it in my mind that, look, I've got something to prove. The last time people seen me on Unity wasn't the real me. And I'm sure you can agree with that, and people who actually know me can agree with that as well. Um, when I show up on October 25th, you'll see a better version of me, and it's a dangerous, dangerous thing that was going to happen on that in that cage. But prediction wise, I always say the same thing. Really, I'm looking for a finish, whether that be a knock him out spark clean or I submit him and make him tap out. I'm ready for either. And if it does go 5 rounds, you best believe I'm fit enough to go all five and do a sixth if I need. So that's the headspace I'm in, mate.
Unreal, mate. I love it. I love to hear the mindset. I cannot wait for this fight. Like you said, October 25th, Unity Fighting Championships in Darwin at the Dolphin Centre. Get your tickets while they're still available. It's going to be an unbelievable night. Sammy, I just want to thank you for your time, mate. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much, Rob. It always is. Cheers.